Okay, here's a problem that came across my desk. What is the GCF of 48 and 72? Now, there are some different ways to do this, but we are going to use prime factorization. Prime factorization is a very important technique that we use for many different things, and calculating a GCF, or greatest common factor, is just one of them. So first we need to know a little bit about prime numbers. Prime numbers are numbers that have exactly two factors, one and themselves. Or in other words, the first prime number is 2 because the only way to multiply two numbers and get 2 is 1 times 2. So the number 2 has exactly two factors, and that is our first prime number, and we always start with that when we do prime factorization. Is 48 divisible by 2, or in other words, does it contain a factor of 2? Yes, it does. 48 divided by 2 is 24. Does that also have a 2? Yes. 24 divided by 2 is 12. Notice that I am circling my prime factors. Is 12 divisible by 2? Yes. Is 6 divisible by 2? Yes, and what's left is 3, which is also prime, so I circle it and I'm done. In other words, 3 is prime because the only way to make 3 is 1 times 3. So the prime factorization of 48 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. If you were to multiply all of those circled prime numbers together, you would get 48. Now we're going to do the same thing with 72. That would be 2 times 36. Which is 2 times 18, which is 2 times 9, which is 3 times 3. We ran out of 2's. 9 is not divisible by 2, so we just go to the next prime number, which is 3. Okay, so that is prime factorization. I have here the prime factorization of 48 and the prime factorization of 72. And now we're going to use all of these prime factors. We could do a lot of different things with this. But we're going to use them in this case to build our GCF. We're going to build our GCF. Remember that factors are things you multiply. Okay? So what do they have in common? What prime factors do they both have? Well, they both have a 2, so I'm going to put a 2 here. And they both have another 2, so I'm going to multiply. Factors we multiply. Another 2. And another 2. Do they both have another 2? No, this one does, but this one does not. Okay, what do they both have? Well, they both have a 3. Okay, and that's all that they both have. This one has an extra 2, that one has an extra 3, but this is all that they have in common. So my GCF, or greatest common factor, is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3, which is 24. So the greatest common factor, or GCF, of 48 and 72 is 24. Even though in this case the book happened to be incorrect and say 12, you cannot always rely on the answers in the back of a book. You really do have to know what you're doing. If you have a math problem that you would like me to demonstrate, put it in the comments and I will. Hope that helps.